Hello, comic fans. Here's a quick overview of Hallows Eve number 1. If you're unfamiliar with the character, you're probably not alone. Hallows Eve is the fairly new identity of Janine Godby, the girlfriend of Ben Reilly, the clone of Spider-Man. And as with any comic these days, there's some background. For now, here's what you need to know. Recently, demons from Limbo attacked New York City. During this event, Janine was given a bag of magical masks. When worn, these masks give her a new appearance, powers, and attributes specific to that mask. And that's pretty much what you need to know to kick things off. A currently on-the-run Janine sets the stage for her first solo series. We begin issue number 1, set to the backdrop of a bustling city. A wanted Janine bravely moseys on through the crowd. The tone is set almost immediately, as we get a glimpse into Janine's wandering mind. It's not the hand you're dealt if the deck is stacked against you. That really sums up Janine's outlook on her situation in the world despite the gifts she's been given. That inner monologue is interrupted pretty abruptly, as above the crowd we see Janine herself on the big screen, accompanied by the words, "Wanted for murder." Now, if this were me, I wouldn't be casually walking through the streets, but I also don't have a bag of magical disguises. So here's where we get the first glimpse of one of these things. Janine pulls out what looks like a silly Halloween mask from her bag and puts it on. Suspect no more. We see Janine transform into a Marilyn Monroe-esque persona, making her the target of a very different kind of attention. This is pretty short-lived though, as Janine makes a beeline to what seems like some kind of bank. Monroe mask off and ghost mask on. It's pretty safe to assume what will happen next. The ghost mask grants exactly what you would expect: invisibility and tangibility. And I just want to point out that she doesn't take off the first mask before she puts on the second. So either these things can swap themselves out, or it's getting pretty stuffy under there. At this point, Janine is making comments about how misunderstood she is, and the rules don't really matter to her anymore. And that's made pretty clear by her next move. Seamlessly floating into the vault, we're treated with a pretty cool 2-page spread. We get a little peek into what's inside these safety deposit boxes that contain some pretty obvious nods to the wider Marvel Universe. Janine's not really interested in any of that stuff. She's here for the cash, but the mask needs to come off to grab it, because she's apparently a ghost right now. Here we get the series' first look at the maskless Hallows Eve persona, and so do the security cameras. Cornered, she somehow has the time to pull out a werewolf mask, which doesn't really bode well for this poor security guard who's found her here. But as these events play out, we do see Janine may not like the rules set by others, but she does seem to have some of her own. She makes a point to only take the cash she needs and nothing more, and while she's not scared to harm the security guard, she recognizes he is just doing his job and lets him live. All this hasn't been happening in the shadows, though. Janine's mysterious activities have caught the attention of not only the police, but unfortunately Beyond Corp. And that's kind of a big deal. You may or may not remember Beyond Corp's major role in sending Janine's life into turmoil. It looks like she might be in for more of it. Heading back to her hideaway in some abandoned tower somewhere, Janine is unaware of the two factions on her trail. As she reminisces about her time with Ben, we finally learn the motivation behind all of these events. Janine intends to use her new powers to break Ben Reilly out of Limbo. I'm not sure it's going to be so easy, because back at the bank a disturbing scene is unfolding. As the security guard is giving his statement to Detective Sebbins, something strange happens. Because Hallows Eve attacked the guard as a werewolf, the security guard succumbs to his injuries and becomes one himself. I'm going to say that was unintentional. On top of that, Beyond Corp has infiltrated the crime scene and acquired evidence that may implicate Janine. Seeing all of this play out, Janine might be starting to realize just how much she has to learn about her new gifts. So I enjoyed this one. While it's not really my intention of doing a full-on review here, the word novice is in the channel title for a reason, I do have some thoughts, mainly around how these powers work. It's only the first issue, and we're shown Janine digging through this magical bag like a filing cabinet, trying to find the right mask. I really want to know how something that tedious will play out when things get really hectic. I'm also really curious to see what kind of character arc we're going to see here. Janine is squarely in a pretty gray area, and she's not afraid to lie, steal, cheat, and harm at times, but she also holds herself back at others. I do plan on running through the rest of this series, though, as it releases, so feel free to check back for number 2. And if there's any other comics you'd like to see featured here, let me know. I really enjoy talking about it. Catch you next time.